In the last 15 minutes, the Nakba is in ongoing process of Palestinian displacement. Gaza braces for more protests as death toll in border unrest rises to 59 in the last half hour. What is Nakba Day? Israel prepares for more protests in the last hour. Nakba's harvest of sorrow. We will be back, grandmother. Why the Jerusalem embassy opening was a fitting way to mark the Nakba Israel. Gaza Strip on edge as Nakba Day riots simmer. Palestinians commemorate Nakba in West Bank in the last 2 hours. Nakba 70 years on. Palestinians dream of returning home. Today is Nakba Day. I hope I never see another like this one. Palestine commemorates Nakba Day after Gaza carnage. What does Nakba Day symbolize for Palestinians? In the last 4 hours video, Palestinians mark beat Nakba, the 1948 exodus. Will the Nakba Palestinians mark Nakba Day. Sirens blare in West Bank to honor Palestinian Nakba Day. Israel repurposes old Nakba myths to justify the massacre in Gaza. Split derision. 7 things to note for May 15. Fresh protests expected as Palestinians get ready to commemorate Nakba, the Nakba. 70 years later, what young Palestinians hope for the future. In the last 6 hours, New Yorkers call for justice after Gaza killings. The spirit of Palestinian resistance will not be broken. IDF prepares to face more Palestinian rioting on Nakba Day. Palestine marks Nakba Day after Israeli bloodshed in Gaza. Nakba 70 years on. Refugees remember lost homeland. Quakers condemn provocative U.S. embassy move in the last 8 hours after Gaza bloodshed. IDF remains on high alert for Nakba Day. Third-generation Palestinians look to their roots. Labor of love. Palestinian history through embroidery. Earlier today, Nakba, the turning point for all Palestinians. A child of the Nakba remembers, I lived a very, very difficult infancy. U.S. power no longer enough to calm Mideast conflict. U.S. protests remember al-Nakba. Our history haunts our future. Boycott as best response to illegal Israeli killings. Israeli forces put on high alert amid Gaza protests yesterday. Palestinians struggle to preserve memories in younger generation. My home is Beit Daras, our lingering Nakba. The stakes of the Great Return March. General strike to commence on 70th Nakba Day. At least 38 Palestinians killed, 1,700 injured in Gaza Strip. Why most Americans are ignorant about the Nakba. The Nakba, a Palestinian inheritance of trauma. Dozens of Palestinians martyred in protests against U.S. embassy move to Quds. Jumblet. Palestinian Nakba began 100 years ago, continues until today. This is how Israel could embrace returning Palestinian refugees. 50 Palestinians martyred in protests against U.S. embassy move to Quds. Clashes in West Bank as Palestinians mark Nakba Day. Protest. New U.S. embassy activists protest Nakba ceremony at Tel Aviv University. Israel repurposes Nakba myths to justify today's massacre in Gaza. 41 Palestinians martyred in protests against U.S. embassy move to Quds. 37 Palestinians martyred in protests against U.S. embassy move to Quds. Palestinians struggle to keep Nakba memories alive in Tantra. 28 Palestinians martyred in protests against U.S. embassy move to Quds. Palestinians rally in West Bank to commemorate Nakba, anti-Israel event that aims to rewrite history. 21 Palestinians martyred in protests against U.S. embassy move to Quds. Palestine solidarity campaigners set up protest camp on Nakba anniversary. Live blog. Israeli troops open fire on Gaza. Return March 18. Palestinians martyred in protests against U.S. embassy move to Quds. Live blog. Israeli troops open fire. Gaza return march. Palestinians protest. U.S. moves embassy ahead of Nakba. Protests erupt in Gaza ahead of Nakba and U.S. embassy opening. In pictures why crowds will gather at Bristol's fountains in the city center tomorrow. Gazan stage general strike ahead of Nakba rallies. Iran urges global confrontation against Israel's plots. Palestinians mark 70th anniversary of Nakba in wide-scale protests. Palestinians rise up against U.S. embassy relocation to Quds. High alert for Palestinian slaughter and conflict with Iran.